focus today. You're talking about me not focusing on stuff. Can't get you to look me in the eye today. You're
so jealous.
Dog, squirrel.
You're so jealous.
I'm jealous.
Hello, everyone. We are Greg and Jacquie Francis, and welcome to High Performance Parenting, where our passionate goal is to encourage you to raise champion children in a crazy world. Every week, we will bring you multiple episodes from our extensive experience of raising our six happy, healthy, successful, godly kids who are confidently equipped to win big in life.
We deeply believe that any parent who is provided with the right knowledge and continual support can raise amazing kids. And when they do, all of our futures get better. If raising up future generations of absolute champions matters to you as much as it does to us, here's how you can contribute. Like and share this podcast with everyone you know. And together, let's embrace this journey of raising champion kids in a crazy world.
Gosh.
We're up.
I think you're up today.
Hi, everybody. Okay, so we're on part 3 of talking about strategies for connection, really simple strategies for connection, I think, for couples. And our first episode on this is kind of like a call out to our audience, like, are you actually really connected? Are you really working on this or not? Right? That was our intention. Last episode was the question, what are some things that create disconnection between couples? And this is a conversation you have to have with each other. We're giving you examples for us, but at the same time, they're probably pretty relatable, I would think. And on this one, let's take some time and let's talk about, so what are some healthy things that do create connection, right? And I wrote a couple of lists down here and you can chime in, but I think one of the biggest ones you started talking about at the end of last episode is really caring enough to learn each other and to celebrate each other. In other words, we all have our personalities, our natural personalities, right? We all have our quirkiness. I mean, everybody's weird. Like we're all weird. We're just weird in our own way.
And we don't think we're weird.
Yeah, I kind of think I'm weird a little bit, actually. But
I was trying to be nice.
I can know. Now you are not weird though.
Right? At least you're honest.
Yeah, because it's not weird to never admit you're weird. But,
no, I'm not.
And then there is love languages and even maybe like the strengths. So just talking about these really quickly, I'll try to communicate this best I can, but it's so interesting. I think I remember hearing somebody teach this formula once, that when you have expectations, but then life conditions, the reality of life doesn't meet those expectations, that creates anxiety, right? And so you only have one of two choices. You can either learn to shift your expectations, or you have to do something to change life conditions. And so, for instance, this is why I say this, because if you grew up watching Hallmark movies and you think that marriage is supposed to be like this fairy tale where one of the people was their small town couple that, were the high school sweethearts. Somebody was ambitious, so they went to New York City. This is every Hallmark movie ever made. They come home for something for a week, but then they fall back in love with the person, and it's this magical romance, and everything's just like, they just blend, and their personalities just fit together perfectly, and they just love every aspect about each other, all this kind of stuff. If that's your expectations somewhere in your subconscious part of your mind, you're probably going to have a lot of anxiety in your marriage. Because the reality is, that these are movies designed to pull on emotions. They're not necessarily movies that are documentaries about real life. Mm-hmm. But if you get fed this stuff enough, or whatever it might be how your parents, you watch them, and maybe you had a really healthy marriage, and there were certain ways that your mom acted, your dad acted. Maybe it's the opposite. Maybe it's like it was really unhealthy. So you don't want anything to do with that, but you assume that because it's not going to be that unhealthy, then it's still going to be kind of perfect. And so it can really mess you up. So anyway, like one of the things that I know that I think a lot of couples have to embrace is to realize that your spouse does have a certain personality type, and it probably isn't yours. And when someone else doesn't have your personality type, it's almost hard to understand why they don't. So like, for instance, for me, I'm a very like direct, strong-willed kind of person. They call it a powerful choleric. and then a little bit of the sanguine, which is like the fun loving. I like humor. I'm a little bit more on the side of lose my car in a parking lot, kind of sanguine. You know what I mean?
or when we're driving, miss the exit.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's like, I'm like, hey, you're turning here. You're like, oh.
Yeah.
Like over 3 lanes. I'm
To the point where it's like, I don't even take the blame anymore. It's like, hey, if you're in a passenger seat, you know me.
And
it's your job.
At one point, he would get so mad about it. Like, you don't need to tell me. And now he's like, oh, thanks. That saved me 15 minutes. I'm like, it saved us all 15 minutes.
Right.
You've come to terms with it.
I have. And so anyways, but like, for you also have that strong-willed personality, but you also have a little more detail orientation. Mm-hmm. And so, for somebody like me who is not detail oriented,
right.
I remember almost like making fun of you mm-hmm. for how detail-y you are, right? Like almost to try to get you to stop being that way mm-hmm. versus just saying, this is how God made her. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of strength inside of this. I need to be excited about it. And more importantly, I need to make you feel great about how God made you. It's part of my job to build you up for it versus tear you down for it. Mm-hmm. And before we understood this, though, it's like naturally you're like, okay, I just think she's being, whatever, anal about this. It's just being overly whatever. But the reality is, it's just how you're made. Kind of like me. I'm being a little bit fun-loving, a little bit quirky, whatever. You can get mad and just think I'm aloof or I'm just some kind of idiot, or you can be like, it's actually kind of fun how God made him. Mm-hmm. And thankfully that it brings that kind of level of joy to us, but this is a big one. I think you and I, we'll get into the kids parts here in next episodes, but we do this for our kids pretty heavily. I know that you and I talk about this a lot where because we have 6 kids and all their personalities are different, we're really, intentional about making sure that each one of them embraces who they are, how mm-hmm. they're made, and be excited about it versus trying to compare yourself to a sibling mm-hmm. or other people, and we work really hard in this. So why don't we do it with each other mm-hmm. is my point. This is my point to all the couples out there. Thoughts?
Whoa. I feel like you just got done with an... Okay.
Sorry, I had a frog in my throat and I needed some help.
I guess. It was so abrupt though. Like... Thoughts?
Well, I had a loogie. Well, actually,
wow.
Hunter calls him a soggy.
Okay, right? Too far.
I had a loogie in my throat.
Well, good thing we're not taking care of that on here.
Okay, what's another one within these? Maybe personality, quirkiness, love languages, strength finders.
Yeah, I also think some of the ways to help connections stay pure is recognizing that everyone has faults. Okay, everyone has faults, and you have some, I have some. And the thing is that I know all of Greg's and he knows all of mine. You can hide some of your faults from friends, family, extended family, whatever the case may be. But those that see you every single day, they know your faults.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And I think, being really careful to recognize that if somebody has faults, we don't need to point it out to them all the time. Help. You know what I mean? Perfect example, we were kind of joking about, but I don't know if it's a fault, personality, whatever you want to call it, but by default, yes, naturally, Greg is the type that would be like, oh, I really don't know where I parked my car. Was I on the other side? You know what I mean? And not making a big deal of it, be like, no, actually, hon, we really did. We were on the 3rd floor, not the 4th, And if he's like, are you serious? I'm like, no, I remember. I saw. And instead of it being annoying, he actually then realizes, actually, she's the detail one. Why wouldn't I just trust her? Because she probably did check 3 times that it said a 4 on the, elevator instead of a 3. You know what I mean? Or same thing with our room. I don't know how many times we'd go stay at a hotel and I know the elevator's to the right, but Greg would go left out of the, and for the longest time I did it wrong and I would just start going right. I would just start walking right because I'd be like, why does he keep going left? The elevator's on the right. You know what I mean? But now I'm like, hey, babe, it's to the right. You're like, oh, yeah. And so, you know what I mean? Instead of being poking fun at it or...
That's a great example because that used to really bother me.
Yes, but I really was like, I don't understand why he can't...
I know, but just the way you did it because you didn't understand my...
personality or... Yeah.
It always made me feel like you were abandoning me.
Yeah. Which wasn't the case.
If you would just go and do your thing and wouldn't even notice if I ever showed up. That's what it made me feel like. Which is
so far from it. I was just
and just that little act of no, honey, it's over here, and not making me feel bad about it. Not because the reality is I am a little aloof about stuff, but a lot of times
That frog's bad.
what happens is I got like 25 things in my brain,
Yeah.
and this is so unimportant that I don't pay that close attention.
Right.
And I think also I know that you're going to pay attention to it.
Right.
So then I even turn my brain off even more for it.
And I think that's what my whole point is
Yeah.
about the whole story is a little bit like even I do that because there's certain things that Greg automatically takes care of that I don't need to, that I do. I mean, turning off the brain sounds silly, but like you just allow the other person to take it because you know they will type thing. And to me, instead of poking fun about that stuff, again, and quote unquote, it could be a weakness, whatever you want to call it, just being thankful for it. Like, actually, I know this about Greg, so I'm just going to help out. Hun, it's over here. You know what I mean? Or simple thing like you mentioned, kind of like, you're doing 25 other things. I mean, just yesterday you had a meeting to go to, and then you're making sure the girl's car was fixed. They had a part that had to come in. You had to fix the car. You know what I mean? Greg automatically takes care of that stuff. I don't order the stuff. I don't even, if I order, I'd probably get the wrong part from who knows where. I'm a detailed person, but I'm not going to get detailed about something I don't know about like that, But you took total care of it. And so I sent him a message, was like, so can you drive it around a little bit? Can you make sure, like, I'm a little confused. Is this really, you're like, hon, either it works or it doesn't work. Like, and it works. And I was like, oh, okay, well then I guess I don't need to worry about this anymore. Like my detail head can stop. You made, and I was just like, but in the past I'd be like, is he just being sanguine? Did he even drive it? Does he even know? You know what I mean? Like I don't really, what? But now I'm like, oh, like he's got that. Yeah. And so I think it's just appreciating the little quirkiness, annoyances, whatever you want to call them. I got to the point, I think, again, we've been married like this year will be what, 23 years in November, which means we've been together like 25, I've gotten to the point
quarter century, babe.
I know. I've gotten to the point like, not that some of the things don't, at times you're just like, whoa, like I gotta take a breather, but I've got to the point like, I think I'm the only one that knows that about you. You know what I mean? And I actually take it as like, that means I'm the special one. You know what I mean? Like I'm the one that gets to know those things versus like annoyance of it. Does that make sense a little bit? So like, even when you do something, I'm like, hey, whoa, you know what I mean? I'm like, oh, but he would only do that around me. Like he wouldn't, it's our little thing. Like, and I think when you remember stuff like that, then you just kind of smile. You're like, that's my person. You know what I mean? Like I know that about him, and it's just neat.
It is, and it is a mental shift though. See, that's what I mean. It's like shifting expectation. Because life conditions basically mean this. They mean that did your thing freeze up again?
No, the dog was turning around as you were talking, and I saw Ariel.
What? What dog?
Molly's behind you. Her tail went up over your hair. And I'm like, oh my gosh, he has like...
Oh, you're looking at the screen.
I saw the screen of Molly's hair going...
Hey, focus today. You're talking about me not focusing on stuff. Can't get you to look me in the eye today. You're
so jealous.
Dog, squirrel.
You're so jealous.
I'm jealous.
You wish you could today. Oh. But you got to be the responsible one.
I'm the detail-oriented one today. Fantastic.
How's it feel?
Great, actually. I don't know what I was saying now.
Squirrel.
You did it. All right. Anyways. Oh, expectations.
Oh, came back that
So
way.
this is a perfect example of over the years, I would say both you and I, our life conditions weren't going to change. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to change the design God gave you, right? No matter how much I didn't understand your detail orientedness. Stay here.
The screen went off. Okay.
It'll be okay. All right, now my phone's almost died.
I told you.
Okay. Comedy hour. We're trying to do a serious talk here.
What day of the week is
Let's
it?
go back to dad jokes. We're just going to wrap this up with some dad jokes.
Okay.
No, but anyways, expectations. Like, I'm not going to change the design. So you spouse or couples out there, you're not going to change the natural design. Now, I'm not saying they can't. I'm not saying someone who lives in their weaknesses. Like if you're a popular sanguine personality, which is like the life of the party, fun loving, good with connecting with people, the weakness in that can be you never stop talking and you make everything about you. Well, that's living in a weakness. That needs to be changed. That isn't the strength that God intended for you, So, but like for instance, you have all your strengths. I have my strengths, and at one point, my expectation would be that you would have different strengths, maybe, right? I don't know, somewhere in my subconscious. Oh. So then, trying to change them is kind of a useless battle. Mm-hmm. And is it really like am I even on track
Yeah.
thinking I need to change that? You know what I mean? So then when we do just say, well, that's my person, this is how they are. And then you start seeing the positive in it instead of trying to see anything but the positive in it. And then all of a sudden you have all this peace in your marriage because you're like, oh, I know what to expect. I actually love this part about it. You know, I when I'm with my wife, I'm probably going to turn the wrong way in the hallway 9 out of 10 times for some reason. I don't know why. It's why I don't gamble, because I got a 50-50 shot. And,
That's why you don't gamble.
That's right. I don't gamble because I just, And you know, and you'll help me get there. You know what's funny though, is I travel a lot by myself too. I never go the wrong way. And I really think it's because I just trust you so much that I get to kind of shut down in that area to a certain extent, because I know as a team we got this.
Yeah, that's good.
But anyways, so changing the expectation, and then that matches now. My expectation is different, so it does match my life conditions. I know that you're exactly the person that God put on this planet for me, and He designed you on purpose for the purpose of you doing everything you're supposed to do in your life, and part of that I get to enjoy with you. So I just embrace it, and I just realize, I mean, there is something special about coming to the realization that the way God has designed things is the right way.
Yes.
And that I need to adjust to how He designed things versus trying to think everything that He designed needs to adjust to how I think they should be, right?
Yeah. That's not going to work.
Anyways, any final thoughts? One last little side look? Or
You're so jealous today. I get to be the sanguine, and Greg, he's over there. He's so mad about it. You know what I mean? Like, no, I just think that it's so good. And I think more than anything, just remembering, like, you know, so many times people don't embrace each other's beautiful uniqueness. And that's when they get off track with stuff. You know what I mean? That's when people think the grass is greener somewhere else. That's when people think, like, I don't know if this is my person. Or that's when Satan starts, whispering in your ear, you know, you shouldn't deal with this, or something like that, you know? And to just be very aware of that there is, a real fight for marriages in today's world. There always has been.
Yeah,
there always has been.
For sure.
It's not any bigger or worse. It's just that it's more in our face because social media is so everywhere, you know, like people are very much blunt with their feelings instead of maybe working through things in a private level. Now people feel like they can just spew whatever they think all the time. And I will just tell you, I think, you know, protecting your connection takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of work. And
it's the book Point Man, right? Where he says that Satan's two greatest objectives, separate a man, really disconnect a man and his wife, right? A husband and wife. And number two, disconnect the parents from the kids.
Right.
So that's
why those are the two things we have to fight for.
That's why there's a war.
That's right.
So sure do love you.
Love you.
Hey everyone, thanks for listening and thanks for your love and support. We hope that today's episode added tremendous value to you and your family. It would mean so much to us if you would partner with us on our mission of helping parents around the globe raise champion children in this crazy world.
To do so, simply take a moment to like and share this podcast with everyone in your network. See you next time.